has to recuperate, and he can process the loss of John the Baptist. Wouldn't you know it? The people heard what he's done. They can't walk on water like he can. He went by ship that day. But so what do? On foot, they go around the lake and they find out where Jesus is. Now, if Jesus was like me, which he's not, thank God he's not, he would have said, I can't go anywhere. Don't you hate it? That's what's bad about these cell phones. You can find me anywhere I want to be. And I can find you wherever you want to be. Don't you like it when somebody calls you, where are you? Obviously not where you can't find me, but you know, if that'd been me, I thought, I just want another day or two. They find me. And look at verse 14. And Jesus went forth, now I love this, and saw a great multitude, and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick.
Amen.
Now, are you thinking about that? What's the best way for you and I to deal with our sorrow? Need some time taken. But if you really want to deal with your sorrow and deal with it as you should, start looking at other people. Lift up your head from you and look at people. And look at them with compassion. Look at them through the eyes of your suffering and your loss and your sorrow. A good friend of mine, a preacher friend of mine, once lost his son in an accident, a car accident. He was talking about it. He said, R.L., I didn't know if I could ever, he and I were, and some of you would know him, probably do know him, some of you may know who I'm talking about. But he and I, you know, we kidded all the time. He told me, he said, I could tell he's serious when he called me R.L., because when he was messing with me, he'd call me preacher. But he said, R.L., he said, I want to tell you something. He said, when I lost my son, he said, I didn't think I could ever preach again. And he said, but God's grace was very sufficient. And he said, it was hard. But he said, when I'd be preaching, he said, I'd be preaching stuff. He said, I'll be preaching stuff. And he said, I'd talk to himself, and he said, I would say while I was saying something, but do you really believe that? And I said, I can't relate to you on your level, but I said, I think I can. Of course, this is years ago, and I'm thinking now, yeah, I do that. There's a lot of times I preach something to you, and I'm thinking, but do I really believe that? And he said, but God got me through it, and he said, I got to preaching one day, and he said, I noticed that I was preaching to people who had suffered some of the same things that I was now becoming acquainted with. And he said, I started thinking God has given me this opportunity to understand the people in some of their sorrow and their loss in areas that I've never thought about before or experienced. And he said, I'm starting to see how it's helping me become a better pastor. And I thought, that's a tremendous thing. When Jesus saw the multitude, and he was moved with compassion, and he healed them, did he say, why should I go out and heal them? Because my Father wouldn't let me heal John the Baptist? It wasn't in his plan? No. He said, I know what they're going through. I know they're lost. I know how hard it is, more than they do, about wanting to prohibit something, prevent something, and I can't because it's not in my Father's will, and they can't because they're limited, but I'm compassionate for them. I just wonder if this time in his ministry, when he was moved with compassion and he healed the sick, if maybe he did it in a way that he hadn't done it before in his ministry, I don't know. But the point is, he got himself back in to his ministry. And he ministered maybe in a different way. He's God, I know that. But maybe he ministered in a different way, but the point is he activated himself. And you see, I'm convinced, and you may have to tell me this one day. God may have sent somebody into my life to tell me this. But I'm convinced God takes us through things. And the sorrows and the losses that we experience in our life. So that we can, once we get through that, get active in ministering to other people in ways that we couldn't prior to that experience. Now, we won't if we spend too long in the desert place. Because you know, there are some people that go through sorrow and loss in their life and they never come back from the desert. The desert is a good place to recoup. Alleviate the grief from the loss, but the desert isn't the place you minister. You minister where the people are. And there comes a time to activate your life. Take the grace and the mercy God is showing you and minister and bring spiritual healing into the life of other people. Learning how to handle the sorrow and the grief in your life as Jesus teaches us how to handle it, so that we can teach others the compassion that Jesus has for them. Let's stand. Let every head be bowed, every eye closed. Father,